My name is Diana Shepard, and I'm the editorial director and co-founder of Divorce Magazine and a facilitator here at the Divorce School. Today, we have a very special video for you on overcoming the shame of divorce. The video features Tara Eisenhard, who is an author, speaker, divorce coach, and mediator. Tara is the daughter of cooperatively divorced parents, as well as an ex-wife and previous partner of a divorced dad. From these life experiences came her beliefs that a marriage shouldn't survive at the expense of its participants, and families should evolve, not dissolve, through the separation process. Tara's passionate about sharing her vision and promoting a fresh perspective to allow for healthy healing. Without any further ado, let's get to the video.
Hello, and welcome to the Divorce School. My name is Tara Eisenhard. I'm an author, speaker, coach, and mediator. And my passion is helping people separate with respect and mindfulness so that they can move on and create healthy lives and a healthy new relationship with each other. In this session of the Divorce School, we're going to be talking about overcoming the shame of divorce. My personal story starts a long time ago. I'm a child of divorced parents, and I grew up thinking that divorce was a good thing because my mom and dad were able to have a much better, much more cooperative relationship after they stopped living under the same roof. When I grew up and got married, and it came time for me to get divorced, I recalled the role models that I had as a child. And so my ex-husband and I also had a very cooperative divorce. We worked together to get through the process, and we have a good relationship today. I knew that divorce was the solution to the problem that was our marriage. And so moving through that process felt good. It was a relief. But when I told people that I was getting divorced, they were either very angry for me or they were very sad for me. And I was neither. I was happy about my divorce. But I couldn't understand the reaction that I was getting. And I became very curious. So I began to do a lot of research. I wanted to know, why do people get so angry? Why do people get so sad? Why do people get a little bit crazy around this topic? And I realized that at the root of our conflict, at the root of so much that is wrong with our divorce process, lies shame. And shame can come from a variety of places. It comes from our upbringing, from our families. It can come from our religious teachings. It can come from our friends. It can come from other parents at the playground or at the baseball games. People feel shameful about the things that they've done, and they feel shameful about the things that have happened to them. And shame creates a very ugly process within us. Because when a person feels shame, they believe that they're a bad person. They believe they're a bad partner or a bad parent. And they desperately want to get rid of that feeling. And so the way to effectively discharge shame from one person is to blame somebody else for the circumstances. And so that happens all the time in our divorce process. We have two people who decide that they don't want to be together anymore. They feel bad about the situation that they're in, and they lash out at each other. They go to war with each other. And they try to tear each other down, and they tear their family apart in what is really, at its root, just a dance of self-preservation on each side. So it's very important to me in encouraging people to have healthy, happy, and mindful separations that we remove as much shame as possible from that process. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to ask questions. And I like to look at things that happen in divorce and things that happen in other aspects of life. And just point out the way that we handle these things as a culture. For instance, when a couple gets divorced and one parent moves out of the house, we call it a broken home, and we shame the family for doing something terrible to their children. But as a culture, we don't react the same way when there's one parent who is out of the house because they're in active military duty, or because they're on a longer work assignment, or maybe they just work very long hours, or they work a different shift than their spouse. In both cases, we have a parent that's not there as much as he or she or the rest of us would like. But we treat each scenario a little bit differently. Why do we do that? Because it's okay to shame divorce. But those other families, we think, they're just doing the best they can. They're doing what they need to do. I think that's horribly unfair. We all want to be normal. But what is normal? Is normal really mom and dad and 2.1 kids in the house together? Most of us don't know families that look like that. We don't know families that operate like our favorite black and white TV families did. Instead, we know families that live under different roofs. We know families that have 2 moms or 2 dads. We know families where children live with grandparents or with aunts and uncles, or foster parents or adoptive parents. There really is no normal. Normal is what's best for a certain family. So in combating the shame that comes with divorce, I'd like to introduce a new paradigm, a new way of looking at the divorce process, one that's very different than the way our culture typically assigns the process to be. And I'd like to start by saying that a good divorce is better than a bad marriage. We treat divorce like it's a problem, but in my mind, divorce is a solution to a problem. Unhappy, unhealthy marriages are a problem. Lying and cheating and abuse are problems. Divorce is an opportunity to make things better. It's a solution. And we should look at it that way. We should treat it that way. We should trust people to make that choice. Because the experts in the family are the members of the family. I like to say that divorce is about evolution and not dissolution. So often we think about divorce in terms of a family breaking up, a marriage dissolving. But we don't have to look at it that way. Because divorce is really nothing more than a restructuring of a family. For children whose parents continue to be involved in their lives, they continue to have 2 parents. And just because they don't live under the same roof doesn't mean they're any less mom and dad. We don't treat the situation the same way when a child leaves the nest and goes off to college. We don't look at it as a dissolution of a family, because the family's still intact, regardless of where they live or how old they are. A family is a family. I always encourage couples to view divorce as a shared goal. So often we look at divorce and we look at it as a cause to get angry and a reason to go to war. And we think there's going to be a winner and a loser. But divorce is really a shared goal. It's a reason to come together. When a couple comes to the conclusion that what they've been doing isn't working anymore, and they know that they need to separate, they've found, for perhaps the first time in years, common ground. Common ground is a place to build, not something to tear down. When divorce is a shared goal, a couple can work together to accomplish the goal of dissolving their marriage and maintaining their family unit. They can set new goals about the kind of relationship that they want to have with each other, the kind of relationships they want to have with their children, and they can set financial goals as well. And they can work together to reach those goals without blaming and shaming each other and tearing themselves apart. I prefer to look at divorce as a new beginning. So often we view it as the end, and we don't talk about what comes next, which really contributes to the shame and the blame. But when we can realize that divorce is the end of something, but it's also the beginning of something else, there's reason to have hope. There's reason to be optimistic. And there's reason to feel good about what's happening and what's coming in the future. Now, I believe that love can live on even because of divorce. When two people live unhappily under the same roof for a long time, they begin to resent each other for keeping them imprisoned in a life that doesn't serve them. The love that they once had can get lost very easily in that kind of a situation. But we've all heard that phrase, that if you love something, you should set it free. And divorce is the same way. When a couple finds themselves in that place where they can no longer grow and they can no longer relate to each other, it's time to let go. And in releasing each other from the cage that was an unhealthy marriage, the love gets freed as well. And the relationship is able to change. The relationship is able to grow. And the love can come back and serve those people in a new way. It's so possible to move on from divorce and still care for and respect your ex in a very happy and healthy and loving way. And divorce is what makes that possible. As a culture, when we talk about divorce, we use very depressing terminology. And so I'd like to talk about some of that vocabulary and offer some new ways of discussing this issue. The big one is, when we talk about divorce, we talk about failed marriages. Now, this phrase is just a shame magnet. Nobody wants to be a failure at anything, especially marriage. Yet if a marriage doesn't last until somebody dies, we say that it failed. I find this very curious because on their wedding day, couples promise all kinds of things to each other. They promise to love and honor and cherish. They promise to respect each other and support each other through many of life's obstacles. But as a society, we don't look inside an intact marriage to determine if all of those vows are still being kept. So why is it fair for us to judge one and not the others? Really, I don't think it's fair to judge any of them. People get married for many different reasons. They love each other and maybe they want to have a family together. Or maybe they want to travel together. Perhaps they want to build a business together. In any case, they have certain goals for their lives. Sometimes couples are able to accomplish those goals, and sometimes for one reason or another, they're not. But that doesn't mean that they didn't have good times along the way. It doesn't mean that they didn't meet some of the goals they set out for. And it doesn't mean that they failed. Sometimes a relationship runs its course, and it's simply complete. Once a couple has spent the time that they need to spend together in a way that they can grow and change as individuals, if they come to a point when they can no longer grow together, it's okay to release each other from those bonds. It's okay to realize that it's time to take the next step in life, and it might not be on the same path. So instead of a failed marriage, I would much rather we speak in terms of a completed partnership. Because nobody failed. It's just done. Another thing that we talk about when we talk about divorce is we talk about broken homes and broken families. Now, for children who live in this reality, this is heartbreaking. As a child of divorce, I never felt that I had a broken home. I didn't feel that my family was broken. After the dust settled in my parents' separation, I realized very quickly that my family was not only still my family, but my family grew as each of my parents began to recouple. I had more people around me who loved me and supported me, more people who could help me with my homework. And between my mom and my dad, I had 2 complete homes where I could go and feel comfortable and feel at home. And so when we talk about divorce in terms of children, let's not talk about broken homes. Let's not shame ourselves with that terminology, and let's not shame others with that terminology. If children have a mom and a dad who are still involved in their lives, who they still see on a regular basis, and who each provide a home for them, I much prefer to say that that is a binuclear family. One family with 2 home bases. And that phrase came from Constance Ahrens, who's a researcher, and she's spent many decades studying divorces and following couples and families through this process. And I first learned about a binuclear family in her book called The Good Divorce. I think it's a much better way to address the home issue for children. When we talk about divorce, we talk about single parents. And in some cases, there is one parent who is doing everything because the other parent, for whatever reason, is not in the picture. But in a situation where children have 2 parents who are actively involved in their lives, I believe that the phrase single parent discounts one of the parents. And I experienced this myself as a child of divorce when my mom received a birthday card one year, and it congratulated her on her courage and her strength that she exhibited as a single parent. It was a beautiful card, and my mother was very happy to be recognized for all of her efforts, and she hung that card on the refrigerator. But when I saw that card, my initial thought was, what about my dad? My dad lived only a few miles away. I saw him whenever I wanted. He was very much involved in my life. But when I saw those words single parent assigned to my mom, I felt like somebody was saying that my dad didn't count. But he counted very much to me. And so I think we need to be careful when we talk about single parents, because the children are listening, and we don't want them to think that one parent is the real parent or one parent matters more than another. Continuing to talk about the children, when we talk about divorce, we talk about getting custody. We talk about winning custody or losing custody. But this positions children as a prize, and it positions parents as a winner and a loser. And it's very shaming for everybody involved. Instead of talking about winning custody, we should talk about shared parenting time. Because as a family evolves, the family is still intact, and the children still have two parents, and they're sharing their time with their children. They're not getting something. They're not winning a prize or losing a race. This is about a family. So let's talk about shared parenting time. Let's talk about shared family time. Let's talk about co-parenting. Another common thing that we hear when people talk about divorce is the idea of quitting or giving up or taking the easy way out. And if you're watching this, I know you know that your road is not easy, and that you didn't just decide to give up magically because there were too many wet towels on the floor, or because dinner was burned one night. I know it's been a hard road to get to where you are. And I want you to know that everybody who's been in your shoes knows that it's not the easy way out, that you didn't just give up, and that you're not a quitter. You're a fighter, and you're fighting for your family, and you're fighting for yourself. And that's okay, as long as you're fighting respectfully. But when you hear people use this language, don't be afraid to speak up and correct them, because we really do have the wrong idea about this, and we need to change the way that we talk about divorce. Researcher Brené Brown has been studying shame for many years, and she's written several wonderful books. Brené Brown says that we all have shame, and nobody wants to talk about it. And the less you talk about it, the more you have it. Dr. Brown says that the antidote to shame is empathy. Shame cannot survive the light of empathy that is shown on it when you find somebody to connect with, somebody to hold space for you, and somebody to hear you talk about your struggles. So I encourage you to find somebody, a trusted friend or a family member. A therapist can be a wonderful asset as you move through this process. Maybe even a new community of friends. But reach out and connect and find somebody to listen. Because when you're heard, your shame will dissipate. And you'll be able to feel better. You'll be able to feel more confident. And you'll know that you're doing the right thing. It's all about knowing yourself. Getting quiet and meditating if you have to. Reaching out to other people who've been there and who can hold you through it. But to connect and know that deep down in your heart, you're doing the best that you can. And you're making decisions that are in line with your goals. And you're working for the good of yourself and for the good of your family. As you move into your new life, you'll want to stay true to yourself. Make sure that you're supported. Make sure that you feel good. This might mean trying a new hobby. It might mean reconnecting with an old hobby that you haven't done in years. It might mean reconnecting with new friends, meeting a new group of people, and finding a new normal within a new base. All of that is okay, because you are birthing a new life. You're becoming a new person. And hopefully through this process, you'll be able to become more in touch with yourself, more in line with your goals and your soul's purpose. As you honor yourself and move forward, creating your new life, I wish you the best of luck. I hope that now that we're at the end of this video, that you're feeling a little better about yourself and about your situation. I hope that you can use new language and look at divorce in a new way so that you can feel empowered as you move forward each day. Thank you for watching this session of the Divorce School. Again, my name is Tara Eisenhard. Good luck, and thank you.
We hope you found this video on overcoming the shame of divorce helpful, no matter what stage of the separation or divorce process you're currently at. Tara Eisenhard is the author of the book, The D Word, Divorce Through a Child's Eyes, and her work has been featured on DivorcedMoms.com, MariaShriver.com, and the Huffington Post. For more information about Tara, please visit her website at www.taraeisenhard.com. We have many more videos and podcasts to offer you here at the Divorce School. In fact, you may have noticed that there are 3 videos showing on your screen right now. Just click on one and it will take you right into your next class. Thanks for watching.